Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 4th annual These Streets Are Holy Fundraiser. We're virtual again this year.
We are John and Jill Ludwig, Executive Director and Vice President of These Streets Are Holy. Thank you for being here. We're going to be really respectful of your time. We know it's a busy season for everyone, so thank you for joining us.
We're not going to do the 24-hour telethon?
No, John.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Well, despite that, we're going to give you a rundown of 2021, what it's been like, and we're also going to give you a preview of what's coming in 2022 in our outreach areas of music, mentoring, and urban gardening.
It's been a really successful year for These Streets Are Holy despite the pandemic. It has not slowed us down. On our ongoing relationship with Work Study Enterprises in Matson, Illinois, and a partnership with Roseland Christian Ministries, it has increased our outreach. We had participants in our 5-gallon bucket garden programs, more than we ever anticipated. We jumped from 12 participants in 2020, which was a COVID year, to over 85 this year. It's amazing.
Yeah, the summer camp programs also included a good dose of music that we brought along that the kids were able to participate in. And throughout it all, we were able to show God's Word through God's world. And that's something we really wanted to give those kids.
So let's hear from Sandy Nelson at Roseland Christian Ministries.
We run a free 4-week summer camp for kids ages 5 to 13 years old from the Roseland community. We offer camp every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we have been doing this camp probably for a good 25 years. And it has evolved into different things, and it's changed as the neighborhood has changed. It was a really great day for Roseland Christian Ministries when we met John and Jill. I very quickly learned that they bring 100% of who they are to the program. And we had never had anybody really do a real garden experience for kids, and we just thought that that would be a really exciting opportunity for kids to learn about taking care of plants and soil and tending to a garden and how that relates to being a Christian and God loving them and them loving their families and communities and just the space that they're in. We were really grateful to have John and Jill come alongside us and bring their experience of These Streets Are Holy to Roseland Christian Ministries. And
Enjoyed it a lot. We also looked after your raised beds you have up there. That
Yes.
was something that we incorporated with the kids, but it went before and after them too,
Right.
in terms of raising food for your daily lunch program.
yes, that was a huge gift to us because, as you just said, we've had these beds probably for 10 years or so, and they have never produced the kind of produce that we had this summer. And what was really great about that is that it did incorporate the kids program a little bit, but what I loved is that it also introduced John and Jill, and we just to a larger community of Roseland Christian Ministries, and that's the men and women that use our lunch program, our daily lunch program. And I feel like Miss Taylor really got to know you as well, and she runs our lunch program. But
I remember our last day of picking this year, I brought her 25 heads of cabbage we grew. It was like 2 big garbage bags of cabbage. And she was happy because she has a cabbage recipe she said she wasn't going to share with me.
No,
but
she hasn't shared it with me either.
Right.
Really?
And it's the best cabbage I've ever had in my life. And I was convinced. I said, you just must make it with a lot of butter. And she said, no, there's no butter in it. But it just was a wonderful program all around, from the garden boxes to the summer camp program. And I feel like kids really had a great time. Especially that first day that they're putting the soil in their buckets and, they're shoveling the soil, and that just was a great experience. So
yeah, we had a giant pile of district MWRD district compost delivered. That was part of that, and we used as much as we could.
Well, the kids seem to be excited about seeing how their plants were doing every day. Because
Yes.
that's how we would start the program, right? We'd
Happy
go and
plant,
see
right?
if your plant is happy, and if it's not happy, well, what do we need to do? Does it need more water, sun, soil, space, temperature, those kind of things. So we reiterated that every time we saw them. And all that applies to our principles as Christians as well, right?
Yes.
Well, we need some light, we need some ground, we need some stability, we need some those kind of things. So all of the different lessons, we tried to incorporate God's word in those. So if we were talking about worms,
Right.
you know, or butterflies, or whatever it might be, how that might have brought back glory to Him.
We have a little
So-
catchphrase, God's word through God's world,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was, and I think it's a very natural connection for kids to make, you know, that, well, this, talking about this in the Bible, and this is actually what I'm doing now. I am planting the seed, you know, maybe I'm the seed, you know, all of that, so.
There were some kids that were very excited about taking their bucket home and continuing the growth
Yeah.
process. And I think that they just really, what I took away from their experience with you is that they very quickly understood that you were very genuine and that you had no expectation of them, but that you just loved them for who they were. And that you just came right alongside kids and just spoke with them, and I think that that was one of the biggest takeaways for kids in their experience with you, and just how you were able to connect God's word with real life application, and that was just taking care of a plant. I just think that all around it was a great program for kids and their experience with you in doing that.
Thank you. We quickly learned not to have any expectations when we were with the 5-year-old group, by the way. Whatever we were thinking, no, that wasn't probably what was
Let's
going
go find the chalk.
Scrap that, yeah. Let's draw a flower.
Exactly. Duck, duck, goose.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I ever shared the story with you, but it really touched my heart. It was the last day that we were there. And so we had 8 days, I think, with you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, total for the program.
Right.
So that would have been maybe an hour or something with each of the children. I mean, it spanned throughout the day with each group, but we maybe would have spent 8 hours with a child throughout that whole time.
Sure.
And on our last day, I was saying how it was our last day, and this one girl said, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you." And I thought, after 8 hours,
Right.
across the span of a month, this little precious thing, who really seemed to be a little too cool.
Yeah. At first.
You know,
yeah.
at first, yeah, was open enough to say that she was going to miss us. So I thought, well, okay, I guess we're doing something right if someone who, you know, who may not see us again because they may not be part of the program again, will miss something. So maybe something from the program will continue on with them, you know?
Right. But I think it's also important to note that even though you had sort of them doing this learning experience, you were also present with them at lunchtime, and you were, you know, I think you invested more in kids than just doing that one thing. And, you know, they saw you during singing time and all that kind of stuff.
We try to focus on relationships as, you know, one of our key things, you know, because it's, if you don't have a relationship, how do you expect to actually see change in someone? So that's kind of, if you want to call it a core value for us, that it's relational, you know.
Thank you, Sandy.
One of the other things we did at the end of the season with work study, which we'd had a very successful growing season, we wanted to give back to the community, so we held an outreach event that we called Harvest Celebration. We had a whole lot of stuff going on that day.
Yeah, we did. There were painting of pumpkins, there were musicians, there were comfort dogs you could snuggle. There was a seminar on laughter. There were some exhibitors there, South Suburban Special Recreation District, along with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago.
Yes. We also had Mia Carter, who was the Matson Community Police Coordinator, gave a very interesting talk. And Illinois State Representative Debbie Myers-Martin was there. Part of the event was broadcast on AM 1570, Big Gospel Express program that was hosted by Jakari Sutton, who's a graduate of the Work Study Enterprise program. And now we're going to cut away to Sean Mitchell. We're with Sean Mitchell, who is the co-founder with his wife, Sherelle, who couldn't be here today, of Work Study. And Sean, I want to get this right, so I'm going to read this. As far as who you are, you're a singer, a songwriter, an educator, a business owner, a philanthropist, but most proud of, you are a father, husband, and servant of God.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
That's great.
Thanks so much, John and Jill. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Always.
We've been lucky enough to work with you for a number of years now. We met back in 2017, if you believe that. And we've been fortunate enough to work with your summer program for the last 2 years. Last year being COVID, a little different, but it worked out very well. And it actually was the footprint for what we did this year for your location here at Work Study, and also for another one up in Roseland. We're so appreciative of this ongoing relationship that we have. And so what is it that These Streets Are Holy brings to the summer program that has you wanting us to keep coming back?
I'm in a child care career. So it's easy to tell when a child is enjoying something, you know? So I go by their facial expressions. When
Even
you come
through
in
the mask,
yeah,
right?
even through the mask, when you come in the building, you know? And so even though for those that were new in the camp, that wasn't familiar with you guys, they saw how the other children responded to you when you walked in the door. And so they made them curious. So their curiosity led to all of the buckets that we have on the side right now. And children just really, we would go shopping, as they say. And we would go shopping and we would pick our tomatoes and our peppers and everything, and they would take them home to their parents, and they would have fried green tomatoes and, you know, basil and everything. So
now one thing that we realized that kind of our key phrase for this fundraiser is
we bring God's world through God's word, or God's word through God's world. You know, however you want to split that phrase, but you know, we're teaching them some element of that through, as you described it, simple things. And what can be simpler than planting a seed and watching it grow?
That's right.
But you know, everything we do that way has just this metaphorical and literal way that it comes back to the Bible and what's coming out of that story, and how does that impact me if I'm the child in this case, in this program.
The best way to connect spiritually is through the natural element. You know, I mean, if we pay attention closer to nature, it directs us directly to God. The trees grow straight up, the grass grows straight up. So we can always find a message in nature that can spark the interest of a child. You know, because even though we have all the gizmos and gadgets, as I call them nowadays, a child still enjoys being in nature. Right. If we as adults allow them to do it.
And you know, that's so true. You say that because when we got here, one of the first times we're like, okay, yeah, hey, everybody come here and sit on the grass, and then we'll talk. What?
Yes, I remember that.
What can I sit on? And I'm thinking, by the time we're done, your hands are going to be in that dirt, and you're just going to go like this to a spider that falls, you know, whatever. Is there anything that the children hung on to that they would express to you from time to time when we weren't around?
Oh, wow. They like the salsa.
So we've made some food. They love the salsa, so they're happy to see us because we bring food.
Yes.
You feed them, they will come.
Yeah, and just the creativity. You know, we have some kids here that didn't really see themselves as being creative, but the sticks that we did, they painted and everything, which identified their buckets. You know, that was when they go to their parents and say, "This is mine." You know, and these are ages range from what we had 4 to
you were 13-ish, right?
Yeah.
I think one thing that might be different about These Streets Are Holy than perhaps some other organizations that do similar things is relationship. We really try to focus on having a relationship with the people we participate with, and plus also the children, whoever we interact with, which is kind of where the mentoring comes in. It isn't just about, oh, hi, okay, we're gonna do this today, see you, gotta go.
Yes.
It's more, oh, so tell me more, how was your weekend, what do you think about this, trying to get more engaging in that. So when we do come back next year and some of those children are still here, we can pick up again where we left off and
Right.
continue to build.
For me, one of the neat things, we hadn't been here for about maybe a month after the regular summer program ended. And we were here one day for something, and the kids saw us down the hall. They came charging at us like a herd of
That's
wild
what I'm
animals.
saying, yes.
You're like, you always wonder, well, did I make a difference?
Yeah.
Do they really catch what's going on? And then I'm like, well, I guess we did.
You noticed right then, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like that moment, like, all right, we did make a connection,
That's right.
so.
It was really,
Yeah.
that was really great. That was a heart-filled moment for us. We got, so it's kind of selfish in that way. We get something back from what we're giving, so.
In times like these, when we're going through pandemic after pandemic, we're having violence throughout the city. Not just on the west side, not just but throughout Chicagoland area. The message of These Streets Are Holy needs to be heard. It needs to not only be heard, it needs to resonate in the hearts of different communities. So kudos to what you guys are doing. I love being a part of this because this is what we've been doing, and to collaborate and partner with such an organization is our word, providential.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So this is a fundraiser.
It is.
So I would like to just project to everyone that is listening right now. You are witnessing firsthand the benefits of These Streets Are Holy. This is not just an organization that wants to glorify themselves or just their area. They're reaching out to Roseland, throughout the Chicagoland area. And this is something that they're looking to build. Well, of course, everyone knows when you're building, it takes revenue. And so I think everyone gets the point here. Your donations are so important to the continuation and the fulfillment of the purpose that they're trying to accomplish here. So if you thought about, what organization am I going to participate in? What am I going to contribute to or donate to? Consider These Streets Are Holy. Your tax-deductible donation, I'm going to say that again if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Your tax-deductible contribution would be well spent with These Streets Are Holy. So I think it's enough said.
Thank you again, Sean.
Let's talk about 2022. These Streets Are Holy's 5-gallon container garden program has a solid footing now. And we're going to be bringing it to Work Study and also Roseland Christian Ministries in the summer for their summer programs. Perhaps we can reach 100 children. The majority of your donation for this year, though, will be used to bolster our music program and give the opportunity to children to learn how to play ukulele. And ukulele, you may say, why?
Well, ukulele is a really fun instrument. It's pretty easy instrument to learn. And we're really looking forward to teaching some kids that. Studies show that music's a great way to connect the different parts of your brain in a very positive way. So we're hoping to have 5 to 10 ukes going for this program that'll be starting early next year. We are also, for 2022, looking at having possibly a third program in the Englewood area. And all of that brings us to another thing, which is that as these programs begin to expand, we're going to need more volunteers. If that's something that strikes a chord of interest with you, please reach out to us. Would love to have you as part of the TSAH team. You can contact us through our Facebook page, or you can email jill@songsbyjohn.com.
These Streets Are Holy would like to take a moment to thank our board members. Without you, we could do none of this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And also to the volunteers who joined us this year. It was such a pleasure working with you. Let's do more this coming year. 2022, we still need you. We need your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever you are able to spare. Reach the children. Show them that there is more out there for them. To educate, to build relationships, we need you.
It's with great stewardship that we'll be using these donations that we're asking for, and certainly the most beneficial way for these programs as we possibly can.
Scrolling across the screen and in the chat box, there are multiple ways that you can donate, ranging from PayPal, Zelle, Apple Pay, and good old checks to our P.O. Box, number 245 in Tinley Park, Illinois, 60477.
I hope you've gotten a sense that much like my namesake, Johnny Appleseed, who planted seeds and moved on, knowing he wouldn't see the fruit of his labors, we too are planting seeds. And we probably aren't going to see those outcomes. But we do know that if you don't plant, you're not going to reap a harvest. The theme song to our program is one I wrote many years ago called Mustard Seed. It looks at that biblical parable from a first-person sense of being a small seed that's planted and taken care of by the master gardener. And that, friends, is where we trust this harvest is coming from. I hope you'll plant some seeds with us.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Good night.